I'm doing a 48-hour challenge, but I couldn't stop there and I had to make it more difficult for myself. Using a medium I'm not very familiar with, at least when it comes to painting. I'll explain later. Watercolor. But not just watercolor, because I don't want to spend any more money. Watercolor pencils, crayons, and the cheap sets I got as a kid. Why do this, you might ask? Because I love painting portraits and expressions, and I want to challenge myself to improve and try new mediums to get faster, so I thought, why not do this with a 48-hour challenge? So will this be a part of a yearly portrait challenge that enhances my creative skills, or just that post I did one time years ago, never to bring up again? Only time will tell. And let's start ours now. Okay, it's 12:59 p.m. and now I'm going to work out, shower, and get ready, and then we can start painting. Before we start, I should technically say I did start on a different day with the photo shoot with my sister, and I came up with the concept before that. I scoured Pinterest and talked with my other artsy friends and finally decided what I'd paint. I also want to mention that a normal portrait, when I was doing them more actively, took me like 3 days to complete, but that was with my preferred medium of digital art. With my last physical portrait, I can't remember honestly how long it took me to draw, just that it was over multiple days, and if I guessed, longer than 3 days. It was also very large, and I will not be taking on something of that scale just yet. Anyway, let's get to the concept. I want to paint myself but as frost that's cracking, and where one of my eyes should be, my head has cracked open, and these bright red orangey flowers spring forth. This idea combines the scary concept of painting something semi-transparent and cracking frost and ice, which will look cool if I can pull it off, but also very hard, so wish me luck. Before I could start, I did a photo shoot with my sister. Some highlights from the photo shoot are my dress didn't fit, my original idea of this unbothered, serene look as flowers shoot out of my skull gave way to a decidedly more bothered look, and it was definitely a challenge to get those crisp photos, although this could be a cool subject to paint in the future. Not this specifically, but like intentionally blurry photos could be a fun thing to play with in the future. Anyway, eventually I got the images I liked, and I took one with the photos on so I could see the texture in my hair. Alright, let's start working with the first step, thumbnailing, after I quickly get my daily clothing article from Dress to Impress. I got on a cute outfit and now it's time to start painting. I decided I'd start with thumbnailing even though I took photos, how close I want the painting to be, or any slight adjustments could be decided with thumbnailing. But then I realized I had to go to work soon and I'd barely drawn one thumbnail. When I left, I had 1 day, 21 hours, and 12 minutes left. After coming back from work, I decided I'd jump right into the final portrait. I was too slow on the thumbnailing, and if I wanted to make any progress, I needed to be confident and make decisions of the bigger portrait as I go. And I felt safer knowing that if I wanted to make any major decisions, I could always practice them out on my practice sheet. Now enjoy this time lapse of me clearing off my desk while I explain why I'm technically not familiar with watercolors. I think I mentioned this in the past, but I work at an art center, which allowed me to end up teaching mediums I wasn't very familiar with at first. I came in with mostly an animation and digital painting background, although I had done more traditional stuff in college, but one thing I really didn't touch was watercolor. However, working at my job has exposed me to a lot of different mediums like clay, acrylics, and watercolor. So I do know a little more about watercolor, but it's mostly the basics, and I don't really get to use the material unless I'm demoing, and that doesn't involve me practicing my watercolor skills. So that's why even though I can give watercolor advice and help kids with the basics, I'm still a beginner, because knowing things and putting them to practice are two very different things. And 9 seconds, I'm not gonna keep doing that, but I'm gonna take a quick snack break and then I'm going to swatch my colors and swatch my materials. I have to go in the attic to get my art supplies, but I'm hoping I can get, I'm like trying to think of something reasonable right now. Maybe the darkest darks down, at least on the cool side. Yeah. Guess what I didn't do? Any of that work. I went down for a snack and then I played Baldur's Gate and then I passed out. So let's get on to day 2 because I have a lot of work to do. Alright, so it's day 2 of this challenge. I'm gonna get right into painting. I haven't worked out, I haven't showered, and I'll be honest, it's kind of late in the day, but whatever, I stayed up late, okay? So This is our current time. I'm gonna go get some water, and then we're going to swatch all of our materials, see how they layer with some things. I got some gel pens. I got some gel pens for my birthday, so I'm hoping maybe I can use them for some cooler highlights. I do think I'm gonna probably have to use either white paint or a pencil to really get a highlight in there. I just have a feeling that I'm not going to end up leaving the spots fully that I want to have like a white highlight on there, or almost white highlight. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's do some swatching. Time to finally get swatching, and here's this art kit I have. Actually, I have two of them because since I like art, not only my parents thought I might like this, but one of my friends who didn't know I already had it. Now I'm going to start with those cheap watercolor palettes. It's got the palettes in 3 sections: natural, pastel, and basic. Alright, so I start to swatch and oh no. Oh, the brush is like falling apart. Okay, so this is not going to be a brush that I use. Alright. After retrieving more brushes, I start swatching and thinking about the different colors I like in the bunch, and what I think will be useful in this piece. While I do this, I try to create little gradients with each of the colors, and I think they're pretty successful for the most part. Also, the palettes weren't as cheap as I thought. I was able to make nice, bright, bold colors, and I don't know why I struggled so much in the past. Maybe I didn't saturate them with enough water. Now let's move on to watercolor pencils. These were a lot harder to get smooth and to make a nice gradient, but I thought it might be helpful in making a frost-like texture. Finally, it's time to move on to the watercolor crayons. These were very smooth and nice, but it was harder to get the palettes to make gradients, and they feel more useful to make a single color over a stretch of paper. But I was certain I could make gradients with them with enough practice. Now it's time to do the background art. I don't always start with painting the background, but it's usually what you want to start with. The reason is because colors are relative. A bright orange will look very different when the same color is surrounded by black versus a bright green. So when you paint something, you want to paint the background because the colors you choose will impact how the colors you put next to it look. I hope that makes sense. I decided to start light and slowly build up the background, and I wanted the background to be very dark, so it took a while. And I wanted some texture in the background, so I started with watercolor pencil. Okay, we go back to painting. I start by trying to build up the darkest shadows, but as I go, I have to build up the shadows more, and currently they're not even near the point of darkness I want. So I decided to move on to the flowers, building those up and heavily relying on the reference from Pinterest. I also want to quickly ask you to subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Alright, back to the video. So I've made a lot of... I've made a lot of progress here, but I need to move faster. I'm liking most of the flowers. Obviously, I still have to do the rose. I'm gonna take a food break / look at whatever I have to do on my list. I kind of been ignoring it and just... Oh god, no, don't get tired. Oh shit, I didn't realize what time it was. Fuck! Okay, because I have a lot of time here, but I'm gonna be sleeping. God damn it, and I've worked tomorrow. What time do I have work tomorrow? How much time do I have left right now? 14 hours? 2 hours to 12. Yeah, as long as I wake up before 12, I'll have more time. So, okay, my goal is to finish as much of this as I can, though. So I'm gonna take a break, do whatever I'm supposed to do, get new water, because if you notice, it's starting to give with like a grayish sort of wash here on the last one I did. And then I'm gonna go in, do all of the cracks, draw all of the cracks in there. Oh no, don't stop it. I'm gonna do all the cracks, do all the shadows, so I'll do shadows over here and here, all the whatever. And then I'm gonna really deep in the blacks, because if you look at my reference, I have a couple references, but you see how deep those darks are? And then here, much lighter, because I'm nervous. But I think I'm gonna go in, do all the cracks. 1, do all the cracks. 2, do the rose here. And then 3, I wanna go into everywhere that's gotta be black. And I'm gonna just take my, I wish I had a crayon that was black, because those are like really nice for getting like smooth and dark colors. Like I use them up here, I think. I'm trying to see if there's a color I can use that's kind of like black. There's like a few colors here missing, so I'm guessing I lost the black at some point, or maybe it was given to me that way, I can't remember. Okay, what can I use? Like if there was a really, really dark blue, because even this blue is too bright and vibrant. I want something darker. Just looking at all the colors right now. I don't think there's one. I guess okay. I could go in with this blue. I'm trying to remember how this one was. What was this one? Where is it? Let's look at the swatches. I think it's this one, which I don't hate for starting with the darkest, maybe. I would really love it if I could just get a black in there. Wait, maybe what I'll do is I'll go over all of the sections with the darkest brown I can make, and then I'll draw it in with this, and maybe we can really mix and get that nice and darker. So yeah, okay, gonna do my break. I come back, I'm gonna make my list so I don't forget. Also, I should probably do the earrings now that I just remembered. So, okay. Let's do a list. Let's do a list right now. 1, flower. 2, earring. 3, the lines, the cracks. 4, just like a light shadow. Just cause like, so if you notice in one of my Pinterest references, let me pull it up here quick before my camera dies. Where is it? Here. You can see the high contrast. I want that. So I'm gonna do all the shadows and leave like points for high contrast and stuff like that. And then come in with that deep shadows, and then we'll see where we're at for highlights and stuff, like my skin tone highlights, which I'm thinking it's gonna end up being like a light blue with how desaturated these are, but we'll see. So yeah, all right, I will see you soon, and we'll see if I remember this transition, because I keep forgetting transitions. Newsflash, I did not do any work after my break. Instead, I passed out. Shocker. Now with less than 4 hours left, is that enough time for me to finish my piece? Let's find out. I start with the rose, then the earring while waiting for the rose to dry, going across the painting as fast as I can as time speeds on, wondering if I'm going to be able to complete it. Got 22 minutes on the timer. I have made a lot of progress, but I want to add some highlights, so I'm going to use my paint marker here. I'm probably going to use it directly on and also brushing it, so let's do this. I decided to use the acrylic paint marker by pumping my pen onto my palette and then painting it onto my face. Say that 3 times fast, painting furiously as time runs down until finally... The timer has just went off at 12:59 p.m. Oh fuck, I have to leave for my job at 2? Is that accurate? Yeah. I'm gonna spend like 10 more minutes finishing this because I decided when I was adding the acrylic highlights, I was like, why can't I just darken this up with acrylic black? So you see part of them are darkened up and other parts aren't. I kind of want to try to blend that out too. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna dress up, do what I can with the dress a bit, but I am really proud of what I did in 48 hours in this medium that I'm not really familiar with. Again, I've got like critiques and stuff, but I'm gonna go over that after the final reveal. So yeah, I'm gonna just darken all that stuff up and I'll show you what it looks like in the end. So see you then. So as I continue to paint, I just have to say again how I'm so fucking impressed with myself. I was terrified going into this project, and honestly, at one point I convinced myself that I wasn't going to do it, that it was just too hard, but I'm so glad I stuck with it. Before the final reveal, I want to quickly say I hope you guys liked watching my 48-hour portrait challenge. If you did, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell so we can learn more about art together in a fun, nerdy environment. Again, I really hope you liked this video, and if you want to learn more about my design process, you should check out my channel. Want to see me battle time to create an animation for Animator Guild's monthly challenge? Then check out Dimension 20 Never After inspired character redesign. Or want to see me design some horrifying monsters inspired by Rodrigo Sousa's The Playground? Check out Exploring the Art of Monster Design, Learning from Rodrigo Sousa's Playground. And if you want to show some extra support, consider joining my Patreon. You'll get access to high-resolution PNGs of behind-the-scenes art, time-lapses of set art, your name at the end of new videos, and more. Speaking of, it's time to thank my spooky and salty patrons. You are the bright and vibrant flowers that shoot out of the glass prism of this channel. I also want to thank our newest patron, Piper M600 Please, for joining this undead legion of currently 2 patrons. With that, I will retire to my corpse-like slumber. Until next time, bye.